Am I gonna disappear? Well, maybe in a few decades, but is I gonna disappear? See, we all know in English that there are many different forms of saying this person. We can say I, which is for the subject. We can say me, which is for the object, or my or mine. But in Old English, there were many more different forms of I. For example, there was a difference between the direct object and the indirect object. Kind of like the difference between he gave me to the enemies or he gave a present to me. Notice how there's a difference in the roles here? But there are also differences in how these different forms are used. For example, let's say that we were two rural farmers in southern England, like 1,000 years ago, and we were having a chat and we finished talking and we went our separate ways. The next morning, I came to you and I said, I remember I was talking to a person yesterday, but I can't really remember who. And you said to me, that person you were talking to yesterday? Ce man was ich. That person was I. That person was I, but why don't they say me? Don't they literally have it in their dictionary? Well, remember that one form in English I told you about that also means I? Well, it's gone now. And so are noun cases and grammatical gender and so many more stuff that used to be in Old English but isn't anymore in modern English. And when a language does this, it's known as simplification. And one thing that usually results from all of this is a subject-verb-object sentence structure. Going back to our previous example, that person was I wasn't a grammatical mistake, it was a difference in logic. In Old English, that person was I literally just means I was that person, but that person was put in front so that it was the emphasis of the sentence. But now, in modern English, we've internalized it differently. That person is now the subject, so then that person was, and now the object should be me. And it's not just this case. Almost every single case of the word I being used in Old English has completely swapped out with me. Me and the boys are going out to the movies, but I'm also heading out with the boys. Or if I were to ask, who is watching this video? You would say, me, I'm watching this video. But me isn't watching this video. In fact, one of the only cases in which I hasn't swapped out for me is when I is placed inside a clause, that is to say, with a verb and an object, in which case we don't say me, we just say I. We just keep the I. That's why me doesn't say, because me knows that that is grammatically incorrect, even though you can tell that sounds like caveman talk. So no, the word I will probably not disappear from the English language for quite a long time. It's a very important part of our grammar, and I don't think we can really express ourselves well without sounding a bit cringe while saying it. But what do you guys think? Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and bye bye.